All right, so obviously awesome win for our fans, for our kids. Crazy game. Uh, to be down like that and for them to come back, go to overtime, a really crazy game. And it was just great to see our guys battle back. And we didn't play great in a lot of areas. We stuttered on offense for a while. We obviously didn't stop the run. But at the end of the day, you just got to score more than they do. Said it all week. We got to get to 1-0. And whether it's 2-0 or 42-41, find a way to win. And we did. And we sent a Christmas present to their kicker.
All right, we'll start with Parrish Alford.
Lane, your defense gave up 400 rushing yards and had 3 key stops in succession in the third and early fourth quarters. What do you take away from that?
Repeat that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can go ahead now. You're good.
Okay. Lane, defense gave up 400 rushing yards but had 3 key stops late third and early fourth quarter. What do you take away from their play today?
408, actually. So obviously you're not going to win many games like that, but we did make some stops. They are a great running team, but we obviously got to play better than that. But like you said, we made some stops there in the second half. Gave us a chance to win.
All right, we'll go to Nick Suss.
Lane, on those second half stops, just was something different about the defense, or were you guys just in the right place at the right time there?
We just talked at halftime. It wasn't really a scheme thing. Guys were there. We were missing tackles. We weren't playing physical up front. I thought we were getting knocked around on both sides of the ball. I don't think we ran the ball well at all on offense. So, luckily, we got some great skill players that bailed us out in the passing game, because in this conference, I don't think you can be finesse and win a lot. So we've got to become more physical.
Okay, we'll go to Adam Brown.
Coach, just talking about the skill players, can you talk about Jonathan Mingo's play today?
I thought Jonathan did great. He's had a great camp. The ball just didn't go to him last week. With so many balls to Elijah and the coverages. And, like I said, people are going to figure it out. So Elijah didn't have as big a day. He still had 10 catches, but only 92 yards. So Jonathan stepped up, 128 yards and a couple touchdowns.
Okay, we'll go to James. And if y'all could please speak up just a little bit when you're asking your questions. I think it's a little loud in the press conference room.
Coach, this is the second week in a row you guys have rushed for under 200 yards. Can you talk a little bit about if you're planning on making some adjustments there or balancing out the rushing game and the passing game more, or with Corral's play so far, do you kind of plan to continue to, business as usual?
Well, obviously we want to run the ball well. We got to, also do what they're giving us. And so this was a cover 3 team, so the box is loaded all the time. So it's hard to run. Look at Auburn. They struggled at times. So they force you to throw the ball by what they do. And, 24-29 is pretty effective at that. So, but we do got to run the ball better.
We'll go back to Nick.
The way your offense responded down 14 points and then again down in overtime, are you at all impressed by how they have responded to adversity so far in these first 2 games, or was this kind of what you expected from them from practice?
No, they've done a good job. I feel like they actually played better from behind. Start fast and we kind of hit a lull when we're ahead or tied and do better when behind. But, it was good. We screwed up the speed option down on the goal line, by cracking the receiver so the corner came off. And I thought that was maybe going to haunt us and be the, reason we lost because we should have walked in there and left the ball down on the 1. So, really good to fight back from that because that's hard to overcome.
With the 2 fourth downs at the end of each half, the 4th and 2 you punted on, and then the other 4th down you punted on, can you just talk us through your decisions on those, and did you ever seriously consider going for either?
I did not. Both were in our own territory. You can't do that. It's just the way they were running the ball. You got to make them drive the length of the field.
All right, Parrish.
Lane, you talked about physicality. It looked like Mingo was really physical after the catch. What does he give you when he can play like that?
You know, it's a great attitude. I wish we'd have that attitude all over. So, really have been impressed by him the whole time. Like I said, he just didn't get the ball a lot last week. He made the most of his plays today.
Nick, go ahead.
Just after that roughing the passer last week with Momo, how big do you think it was for him to get that 4th down sack and kind of reset everything?
That was huge. I just felt like the whole energy of the sidelines, and you know, it was a huge play.
All right. Any more questions for Coach? All right. One last
Thanks.
question for Parrish here.
Or not?
Yeah, Lane, if you would, just talk a little bit more about Matt's day at quarterback. I know earlier in the week you talked about his footwork a little bit, felt he could improve in making some plays bigger.
Yeah, I thought he played better today than last week. Last week, guys were wide open. You know, he had to make a lot of really tough plays today against a rush that really was hitting him a lot, and we weren't protecting him real well. So, kid came in and took a shot in the 4th quarter in the locker room and came back out and played. So, good to see.
Did you say he went to the locker room in the 4th quarter?
Yeah, he was gone. If we would have went 3 and out, he wouldn't have been. Or if they would have went 3 and out, he would not be there. I think he was in there about probably 6-7 minutes.